Join me today as we talk about the would-be assassin at Trump's golf course that was contacting Ukraine to get an RPG. The tariff war is getting better and better, and the dire wolf is extinct no more. Stick around. You just might learn something. Welcome to the Eric T. Conversation. I'm Eric T. Well, the biolab, Colossal, has recreated the dire wolf that was extinct 15,000 years ago. That's right. They recreated an animal that hasn't been seen in over 600 generations. But they decided to bring back something that they really know zero about. They have 3 of these cubs. They have 2 male and 1 female cub. And they decided to take it upon themselves to recreate God and come up with their own DNA profile for these animals. They use, I guess, some other type of wolf DNA to recreate with some of the partial DNA that they have from 15,000 years ago. And they recreated these wolves that have been extinct for a very long time. Have they not seen Jurassic Park? You don't mess around with Mother Nature. There's a reason why some of these things get extinct. It's not like we killed off these animals, like a bunch of whales or something like that. This isn't like bringing back the dodo bird that was last seen around the 1600s. This is something that hasn't been around for 15,000 years. I don't think this is good science. I think it's dangerous science, and I don't think we should be messing with Mother Nature. You don't know what kind of animal these are. These things from 15,000 years ago probably hunted massive animals. Massive. They don't even know how big these things are probably going to get. No clue. But they decided to bring it back anyway. And I guess they're also working on trying to bring back the woolly mammoth. Yeah, that's not going to have any kind of problems with it. Look, here's the thing. You can have a house cat in your house its whole life. Never goes outside. But if that cat sees a bird or a canary or something like that, that cat knows that's food. They know that. That's just DNA passed down from thousands of years into these animals. So you're bringing back an animal that has DNA from past 15,000 years. We don't even know how long that thing was walking around the earth before it got extinct. And you're going to bring it back to life and just hope for the best? It can have all types of catastrophic results for the ecosystem. You know, science is great, but they make movies about this stuff and they never end well. Just like AI. Has anybody seen a Terminator? That didn't end well either with AI. So now we're bringing back animals that have been extinct. You're going to bring back the woolly mammoth. You're going to bring back the Tyrannosaurus Rex. That's got shit show written all over it. I think it's a bad idea. It's cool that they're able to do this, but just because you can do it doesn't mean it should be done. You can drive a car with your feet. Doesn't make it a good idea. Anyway, that's my observation of the day. Now for the conversation. So Ryan Rao, the would-be assassin that was trying to take out Trump on his golf course months back after the first attempt on his life, they finally got into his phone and they found emails that he was requesting from Ukraine for an RPG and a Stinger missile to help take out Trump. That's right. He was writing Ukraine and he told them, look, you got all kinds of weapons from the United States. Stuff it's surplus. It goes missing all the time. If you can help me get some of this, I'll be able to make sure I take out Trump, because Trump is not good for Ukraine and what he's going to do with Ukraine by taking the funding back and all that. But so Ukraine knew about this and they didn't say anything to anybody that the guy is looking for an RPG. Can you imagine if this guy would have got a hold of one? Now you can imagine, just think about it. We might have people right here in the United States that have some of these weapons on them in their house. And one day they decide to wake up a sleeper cell and they start targeting airliners with 250 passengers on them. That would be catastrophic disaster. So for this to be so nonchalant that somebody was requesting RPGs or Stinger missiles to assassinate a presidential candidate is mind-blowing. But this stuff is coming out now. So as you can see, the wheels are turning slowly. But as we start getting some of these investigations underway, we're going to start finding out a lot more information. Then we're going to find out what's going on with the dude in Butler and stuff that he was requesting, how his phone was GPS at, near the FBI headquarters, or people that work for the FBI were near his home. There was a whole bunch of conspiracy theories, a whole bunch of theories out there about what was happening with this young guy. He had explosives in his vehicle, and I guess a van that he had. So there's a lot more coming out. So the people that are still curious about these things, I think it's all coming out soon, but it's going to take a little while because there was a whole bunch of stuff that was covered up with the previous administration. So I don't know if anybody's seen that video footage of that boat captain, Brock Horner, jump onto this young 22-year-old fishing boat in the intercoastal here in Florida. So I don't know if you've seen the video, but it's gone viral. So what happened basically was this young man who goes fishing there a lot, fishes underneath the causeways, under the bridges. I live on the east coast of Florida. I live 5 minutes from the intercoastal waterways. I'm very familiar with those waters. I use my boat all the time in there. I know exactly what these guys are doing. So the night before, I guess this young man was fishing, and this older 40-year-old boat captain hauls ass through the channel under the bridge, and basically the young men who were on this other boat told the guy, cursed at him, and told him to slow down. Now, when you're fishing at night and you don't recognize a boat coming through you, and if you see another boat, the whole idea is to slow down, to be courteous to other boaters or individuals that are fishing. It's being courteous to everybody. I do the same thing when I go into the bridge. I slow down to about 20 miles an hour, so I'm not hauling ass, causing all this wake to all the people who were just sitting there fishing. So I guess this boat captain, this older gentleman, Brock Horner, sees this boat, recognizes it, confronts the kid, starts yelling at him, telling him he's the best boat captain ever, saying he's, allegedly an Army Ranger and that he can kick his ass. And so the kid starts, asking the guy, go ahead and move on. I don't need you here. It's, it's over with. And then this boat captain decides to pull up his boat and get on board this young man's vessel. Now, I don't know where you're from, but if you would have came onto my boat, I would have taken my pew-pew and a couple in the chest, and you would be no more. So that guy is lucky he didn't jump on the wrong boat that day. Good news is that boat captain, the older gentleman, has been arrested, and he's being charged with a crime. And good, because he absolutely deserves it. In the waterways here, everybody waves at each other. It's a boating thing, like a Jeep thing. You can see somebody in a boat, you always wave, and you try to be very courteous. Now, some people start drinking, like, who knows if this guy was drinking or not, but it just seems for the guy to act that way. He probably had a lot of liquid courage in his body, but he boarded the guy's boat over something that happened the night before. That's asinine. And like I said, I'm on these waters all the time on my boat, and I know exactly what those causeways look like, and it's dangerous to go that fast at night because all you have is your running lights. That's it, in the middle of the night. And when they're anchored, you have your anchor light on. That's it. So it's hard to see. And if you're a young man and you see a boat coming at you and it's hauling 35, 40, 50 miles an hour, it causes a significant wake. And it's just not courteous to other boaters, and it's dangerous, and it's not allowed when you go into the bridges. So hopefully that guy gets a good swift penalty, and he thinks twice next time he decides to show his ass on the water and intimidate some young guy just hanging out fishing. So the stock market had a nice rebound today. It went up quite a bit, but then it went down slightly when Trump came out and they said they're going to implement tariffs, I guess 12 o'clock, midnight tonight. I believe about 103% tariffs on China, either 103 or 105% tariffs on China. So then the stock market went back down a little bit, and that's okay. It wasn't any Black Monday like Kramer from MSNBC said it was going to be, right? It didn't happen. So everything came out okay. And like they said, a lot of these professionals are telling you, and I'm not a financial guy at all, but a lot of these professionals saying, listen, there's always a retrace, okay? When you have a huge gain, there's always a little bit of a retrace, and that's normal in this type of market. But it certainly wasn't a Black Monday like it was in, 1987? Yes, it wasn't even close. It had to drop like 10,000 points for that to even happen. So all the people that are freaking out, they're all the rich people that are stirring up the people who aren't even in the stock market. You know that? 50% of Americans aren't even invested in the stock market, and they can care less. But you know what's going on? Oil has dropped 15%. That's right, 15%. So what that means gas prices are going to stop dramatically dropping. And when gas prices start dropping, goods start dropping. Why? Because all that stuff has to be shipped, right? And when the fuel costs go down and the cost to manufacture those goods go down, the store start declining. And that's what most Americans care about. Most Americans do not care about the stock market. They don't. But you're listening to the left, get you all riled up and get you all in a frenzy, thinking that the sky is falling. I've got friends that I've grown up with. They don't know anything about the stock market. And they're complaining about Trump's tariffs. Like, oh, God, now things are going to cost so much more. You know nothing about tariffs. Some of these people, when they criticize the Trump administration doing that. Now, not only do we had 50 countries yesterday, we have about 70 countries now that are coming back to try to renegotiate some trade with us. Even the EU said they want zero tariffs. Zero tariffs, even playing field. And then Trump comes out right after that and says, that's great. I think that's awesome. But you know what we need to have? We want reparations. So Trump wants reparations for you, the EU taking advantage of us for so many decades. The way people don't understand is that Trump is not going to blink with any of this. He knows it's going to get better. He's been thinking about this for 4 years probably. He's had the economists, all these guys probably dissecting this whole market and figuring out the best way to get even trade with these other countries that have been taking advantage of the United States for such a long time. And sure, you piss off Canada, you piss off Mexico, our closest partners, I guess you could say, especially in trade. But come on, it's not the end of the world. But they want to rile everybody up to just hate the fact that this is going on. Why? Because it's going to make Trump look good. Even you got some Republicans that are going against it. But I believe in the long run, it's going to all turn around. It's going to be for the better. If you don't want the IRS anymore, the tariff thing has to work because he's going to have an external revenue service and it's going to get rid of the income tax. You got to make up that money somewhere. And that's Trump's idea and his implementation of that type of plan. So the Federal Mediation Conciliation Services is another example of government corruption. This was established, I believe, in like 1947 to help with unions and corporations talk to each other and kind of work out grievances and things like that. But over the last 60, 70, 80 years, it has turned into a corrupt organization to the tune of the director of this organization, of the FMCS, had paid subscriptions for their cable services on several different homes through the government credit cards, leased vehicles with government credit cards, paid cell phone bills with government credit cards, took expensive and lavish trips with the government credit cards. All of these people were abusing the system. And there are dozens and dozens of people who haven't even showed up for work in years that are still getting a paycheck. And Doge is finding all of this. And all the people that are complaining about Doge and they're saying that Elon Musk is doing all this, I'm going to keep repeating this on every show I do. There's nothing anyone can tell you to convince you that what Elon Musk and Doge is doing is a good thing. If you are that susceptible to propaganda from the left, that they are doing a bad thing, and you have such tunnel vision on what's going on, and you can't see it as clear as a nose on your face, that these things are actually happening in our government, there's nothing anybody can tell you to believe otherwise. But these things are happening. And there's a lot of people that, where's the fraud? I don't see any fraud. Yeah, there is fraud. When people are using government credit cards to lease a vehicle, that is absolutely fraud. You can't do that. And I feel that the government should really start cracking down on these things because all that money that they're spending is our tax dollars. So Doge is doing a good thing. And FMCS, they're as corrupt can be. Nobody should be using our tax dollars to pay for lavish trips, cable bills, leasing cars, and so on. And you got to show up for work. Isn't it crazy? All these people in the bureaucracies aren't even going into work, haven't even showed up, probably work another job somewhere else, yet to still get a paycheck on the government's dime. It just keeps getting better and better. Anyway, that's it for today. Join me next time with a little chit chat, some observation, and some good old fashioned conversation. Like, subscribe, follow me, tell a friend. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks.